Hey there, my name is Jade and welcome to my space. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my 2025 Techo Kaigi. First, I want to apologize for taking so long to post this video. Thing number one, I hate the month of January. It's been my least favorite month for like the past few years, and don't get me wrong, nothing like bad happened. It's just not my favorite month. So I was just dealing with a lot mentally, and yeah. Anyways, aside from that, it's taken a while for me to make this video because my system changed a lot from what I thought it was going to be, and I didn't want to put out a video and then say like a week later, oh, here's what's changing. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot of you guys have done that, and I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying I'm too indecisive, and I needed to really hone in on what I wanted before I put a video out. And don't get me wrong, some of the stuff might not even stay, so I'm no better than the rest of y'all, I promise. With that being said though, I'm just going to show you guys what I'm using right now. Like I said, there's a possibility that my system might change, and when those changes come, I will address it in the future because there are some things that I am looking at right now. But yeah, with that being said, I'm just going to get into the video. I want to start with the planners first because the planner side of things is the most unstable side of things. Right now for my everyday planner, I have the passport size traveler's notebook. This is the Traveler's Records edition, and I have this little magnetic pen clip on the front and a Hobonichi pen, and I'm using this as my everyday planner. My previous video was a setup video for this system. However, there was one notebook in here that I was using kind of as like workout notes, but I have taken it out and I'm only using the monthly and the weekly insert in here. But I also have this little pocket with stickers, and then in the back I have another pocket with more stickers. I technically haven't used the monthly insert yet, aside from like appointments. I'm going to be using this mostly to track what I post on social media, and then once I go back to work, I'll start tracking like my shifts and things like that. But for the most part, at this current moment, it's just blank. And then the weekly is just where I put down like my everyday tasks. I didn't want like a really big planner this year. I just wanted something pocket-sized and portable. That way I could not feel overwhelmed by what I'm using. And that's kind of like what happened to me last year. Last year I had the A6 Take-A-Note planner, and last year was a mess anyway, but I ended up not using that planner a whole bunch, and I felt bad that I had wasted it. And in October I ended up buying another one for this year, but in January I sold it because I just knew I wasn't going to use it. So yeah, that's why I have the passport size, and so far the passport size has been working for what I needed. The reason why I took out the grid insert that was tracking my workouts is because of this. So this is the Traveler's Diner Traveler's Notebook cover, but inside of here I have the Sterling Ink N1 horizontal planner, which is such a mouthload, but here she is. And I just recently got her, so I'm not gonna go like too in depth with what my system is in here because I do want to make a dedicated video to that. But for those of you who don't know, I have sickle cell disease. It's a genetic blood disorder if you've never heard of it, and it's something that I was born with. And between December and January, I was doing a lot of testing to see if I qualified for the new gene therapy that they put out, which is a lot of science that I'm not going to get into right now, but it basically would have been like a semi-safer alternative to a bone marrow transplant. But what ended up happening was I do not qualify for either of those procedures at this current moment in time in my life. And the doctor that I was talking with said that I manage my disease very well, and my disease will probably stay the way that it is right now, possibly for the rest of my life. Granted, if I have kids, that might change, because I know for some people when they do have children, their sickle cell does change drastically. But as of right now, I'm 29. Things are going just fine in terms of my health. And now that I have like a bigger picture of what's going on in my body, because I had to do a lot of like blood work and stuff, I decided to start a new health journal inside of the Sterling Ink planner. And had I known that Sterling Ink made a Hobonichi Weeks-esque type of planner in standard size, I would have bought this back in like December, October, whatever, because this is such a perfect size for a planner for me. Even though I'm using this as a health planner right now, I have thought about, and I'm still debating whether or not I should buy another one to use as my everyday planner for the rest of the year. So yeah, but for the most part, I'm really enjoying it. I want to wait though before I really show you like in depth how I'm using it, because I literally just got it like a week ago and I'm still kind of like trying to figure out what type of spreads I like using and what things about my health I want to track. Yeah, keep an eye out for that for like in a couple months, or what I'm going to be using this planner for, or how I'm going to be using it. But yeah, with that being said, I'm happy that I found this planner, but I just wish I had found it sooner. You know what I mean? So that's that. And then the last planner that I have is one that I'm thinking of taking out of my system completely. And I'm thinking of putting the spreads that I make inside of my health planner, because the Sterling Ink has a lot of notes pages in the back. And while I am going to be using that to like commonplace different things about my health specifically, I have a feeling that by the end of the year I'm not going to use all those note pages in the back. So I've been thinking of adding my finance tracker spreads into the Sterling Ink. But this is the Kinbor Weeks, and I got her off of AliExpress at the end of December, either the end of December or early January, and I like the Kinbor Weeks. Like, it's a fine planner. I paid $20 for it after shipping. I have it in this Hobonichi Weeks cover on cover. The only thing I don't like about it is that it is soft cover, not hard cover, but I'm not using any of the beginning pages. I'm not using the monthly. I'm strictly just using the weekly. It also does have notes pages in the back, just like the Hobonichi Weeks, that I've put like my finance goals and stuff. But I just want like one less book in my system, so I'm heavily debating whether or not I should take the spreads that I made in here and then transfer them into the Sterling Ink. Or if I decide to buy another Sterling Ink next month, I could take the trackers in here and put it in that one. So that's like my current dilemma. But I do have a finance tracker, and I decided to start one because, for two reasons, that orange bastard and his tariff plan. So that's thing number one. And thing number two, I'm on track to pay off my car by the summer, and so I kind of want to take the extra money that I'm using to pay towards my car. Once my car's paid off, I want to put that towards like different savings and things. So yeah, that's what this is for. But also, I have a really big spending problem. I've always been a shopaholic, and it's calmed down drastically within the last year or so, but even still I have these urges to like go out and buy shit that I don't need, So my finance tracker has been helping me keep accountable of like what am I purchasing, because I do put like, oh, this sticker book cost $10 and I got it at Michael's and it's part of my personal spending category, so I do stuff like that inside of my finance tracker. But like I said, I just don't know if I need a whole dedicated planner to that, or if I could put this in something else, you know what I mean? But yeah, those are all the planners that I currently have in my system. And now I'm going to get into all of my journals. And before I start with my journals, I want to say that it is kind of a lot, but I'm not using these every single day. Like, I'm not writing in every single journal every single day. I pick up each journal when the time is right, and when I have something that I want to journal about in each, I will. So first we're going to start with my main driver, and that is my A6 daily diary. I don't know if I want to call it a daily diary, but it's basically an A6 journal, and I have it inside of the Hobonichi Tragen cover. I had posted on my Instagram that I wanted to get either the new red cover or the new green cover. Mostly the red cover. I thought the red was really pretty. However, I came across a really good deal on a black cover from Mercari, and so that's what I ended up buying instead. But yeah, this is the Tragen, and I think it's really nice. I don't use this front pocket for much except for like ephemera, and then you open it has a magnetic closure. The magnet is really strong, it's really nice, but open it up and then I have notebook, sticker book, and washi tape samples. So I'm going to take my journal out of the cover, but the actual journal itself is the Nanami paper cafe note in A6. And the Nanami paper notebooks used to be super popular a couple years ago, and then no one talks about them anymore. And I ended up coming across this because I wanted originally to get astrology, but the issue that I had with astrology was the amount of pages. And I'm the type of person to write more than one page at a time because I kind of wanted to do like a 1 day per page type of thing that was undated, so I didn't have to worry about like all the extra fluff, because I was thinking of getting a Hobonichi. But the issue that I had with astrology was that it was 368 pages, where I believe this one is like 385, so it gave me a little bit more leeway in terms of like daily journaling. And even though I haven't like daily journaled in here, it is something that I do kind of like want to work towards. But so far, I'm really enjoying this little guy. But again, as much as I like this, I also kind of wish I was in a standard size traveler's notebook. The only thing that was like turning me off from the standard size traveler's notebook was because I write a lot. I didn't want to have like 5 inserts for the year of just writing, because that would take up a whole archive binder and everything, But again, had I known that Sterling Ink existed, I could have gotten one of their standard size plain notebooks, which she does have. So I gave myself a caveat, because I really am enjoying this journal. I gave myself a caveat to where if at any point during the year I don't enjoy journaling in this anymore, that would be my next notebook, the Sterling Ink N1 grid notebook. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying my little pocket sized. Do I wish it was like taller? Yeah, but for the most part, this is what my journaling system needed, because if you've never seen any of my past journal flip throughs, I used to just journal in a mixed paper journal that I would make myself, and I would make like these really pretty decorative spreads and journal about what I did and things like that. But I never really had a dedicated space to where I could talk about my feelings. I haven't had a journal like that in a good couple of years, and I would always stop those journals because they would get too negative, and so I would just like stop journaling like that, ignore my feelings completely, and then, just make cute little decorative spreads in my cute little decorative journal, right? And I thought that I was just gonna continue journaling like that for this year, even though I knew like in the back of my mind I wanted to change my journaling system. But what really was like the nail in the coffin was I was debating on whether or not I wanted to get a Hobonichi. And Sarika from Sarika Studio posted a flip through of her older Hobonichis, and she used it as like a daily diary, and she was saying that like one of the things that bothered her the most about the Hobonichi was the blank pages. And I knew, for me personally, I wouldn't be the type of person to sit down and journal every single day about my day in the way that the Hobonichi demands. So that's why I opted to get like a blank A6. That way I could journal how much I wanted whenever I wanted, because a lot of like my journal entries in here are more than 1 page. Like my Christmas entry is 2.5 pages. I did another entry that's like 2.5 pages. I did another journal entry about the TikTok ban that was 2.5 entries. And then when TikTok came back the next day, I wrote an entry about that That's like a page and a half. I wrote this whole thing about my Saturn return, and then my journal entry about my Saturn return is like 4 pages long. So I just wanted to have like a space to where I could journal as freely as I wanted without the constraints of the Hobonichi. So yeah, this is like my little Phobonichi moment, but still, I'm having such a great time. I think it's a cute little notebook. They also carry like a B6 size, so just in case you were wondering. But yeah, like I said though, I did give myself that caveat. So if at any point I decide to switch it up and move to a standard size, I will. But yeah, we'll talk about that if that ever happens at a later date. And then in the back here as well, I also have another passport size sticker book from Traveler's Company. But this is like my main everyday journal. The rest of the journals in my system are all side projects. They're just fun little journals that I can work in throughout the year, but they do all have like a different purpose. So that's what I'll show you next. So we'll start with my beloved Frankie. For those of you who have never met Frankie, Frankie is a 2017 limited edition olive edition that I bought secondhand off of eBay back in 2022. And in 2022, I also bought a black edition traveler's notebook. I bought the black one first, and this was a Christmas gift to myself. And then later in the year, I bought the olive edition. And what happened was my nephew's dog attacked both this journal and my black one, but my black one was in much worse shape. She ate like all around the bottom of the black edition, and then just like this one little corner of my olive. And so I cut the corner off of the black one and sewed it onto my olive. Did I cry? Yes I did. But even still, I really love how she turned out, and she's just so unique, you know? And that's my little baby. But yeah, inside of here I have a mixed paper journal that I'm going to be calling my highlight reel. And because I didn't want to like completely abandon like my old journaling process, but inside of this notebook specifically, I'm more so just going to be using it to make spreads about like whatever I want, like fun decorative spreads about whatever I want. But also, if I do like any fun stuff throughout the year, I have to backfill some of this, and that's for like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and when I went to the Travelers Company event, their caravan event back in November, the one that they held in Long Beach. I went to that as well, so I have to backfill for that in here too. And yeah, so this will be like more just like fun decorative spreads, whereas like my A6 is like feelings and sadness and like joy and stuff, you know? But yeah, and then my next notebook that I have is the Traveler's Hotel Edition, and inside of here I have a mixed paper notebook, but it is mixed paper in a different way than my other mixed paper journal. If you've seen like my old mixed paper journals, then you would kind of get like a gist of what I'm talking about, because in this one there's a lot of different types of papers inside of this journal, whereas this one, it's mixed paper, but all of the papers are by Traveler's Company. So I deconstructed the craft paper journal, the grid notebook, the dot grid notebook, and the cream paper notebook. I deconstructed all of those and then put the papers together and then made this one. So, but this is what I'm calling my commonplace. But so far, there's not like a lot in here. I have a lot of spreads set up for things that I want to like talk about, but I haven't really, I'm working through this slowly. The only thing that I will say is, well, two things. Thing number one, this is my first time ever having like a proper commonplace journal, so I know what I'm doing, but I also don't know what I'm doing. I just knew that I wanted a space to talk about like other special interests that I have, so like playing The Sims, whatever albums I'm listening to, and just like whatever else that might like cross my mind as the year goes on. And then thing number two is I'm not going to be doing Megan's dot indexing system in here, because since this is my first time ever commonplacing, I don't know what I'm going to be putting into this notebook. You know what I mean? I don't have like a set list of things that I want to put in this notebook. I just know that I want to use this notebook to talk about my other special interests. So, and the things that I'm interested in fluctuate a lot, which is why I'm not trying to like categorize what everything is about. So yeah, that's this journal. But I'm not saying that like her system is bad or anything. I just don't know if I can use it right now for myself. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's this notebook. And so far with the spreads that I've made, I really like it. I just need to like catch up on it, of course. The next thing that I have is this spiral notebook from Traveler's Company. I did stamp this at their caravan event, and to make a long story short, I'm going to be using this as a travel journal. I did a bunch of travel journaling back in I did a bunch of traveling back in 2018 and 2019. I went to London twice. I also went to Paris. I went to Minnesota. And there have also been like fun little trips that I've gone on since then that I haven't journaled about. And especially like my London trip, I have so much ephemera from London and Paris the first time that I went that I just haven't done anything with. And considering it's been too long for me to like fully remember the trip, I just wanted to make fun decorative spreads about the trip itself in this journal. And yeah, that's the point of this notebook, but this will be something that I work on sporadically throughout the year. So you probably won't see too many updates of this either because I am going to keep this private and just for me, but yeah, I do also have this. And then the last journal that I have in my system is my movie journal. So I did start a new movie journal for this year. I decided to retire the one that I was using last year because it just wasn't working out. I didn't feel inspired to use it. To quote Interview with the Vampire, I felt like I was chasing phantoms of my former self in that journal, which might sound ridiculous to y'all, but what I mean by that is my first ever movie journal I did in 2020, and it was a perfect journal and I love it. And I was trying to recapture that feeling, but the thing that I need to do now is just evolve my system and try new things within my movie journal. So that's what this new one is for. And yeah, I really love how the cover turned out, especially with like the gold stars and everything, because when I rate movies, I use a gold pen and I put the stars down. And yeah, so that is that. And these are all of the planners and journals that I'll be using for this year. But I want to say a couple things before I go. Thing number one is if you're not using as many journals as I'm using, that is completely fine. This is excessive, but it's also because journaling is like my number one hobby. I've been journaling since I was 16 and I'm 29 now. So it's the one hobby that I've invested the most money in, and it's the one that I enjoy the most, which is why I have all of this. So if you're new to journaling, you don't need all of this. You don't need to have dedicated notebooks for everything. I just like to do this because I'm extra. Thing number two, I think I mentioned this before, but I don't journal in these journals every single day. I pick up the one that I want to use when the time is right and journal in that and then keep it moving. You know what I mean? So like I said, just because I have all of these doesn't mean I'm using them all the time every single day. That's impossible for everyone. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I do want to start posting monthly updates of my journals, so that will be like a thing too. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. Stay gold.